disaster, utterly pointless. The three pillars of the Trump campaign, both in 2016 and 2020, that set him apart from every other Republican and every other Democrat. I mean, for the first time, this is the basket of issues I wanted to vote on. Number one, the wall, deport illegals, the whole immigration program. Number two, bring back manufacturing, the tariff stuff. I'm all in favor of that. Our working class in America has been absolutely wiped out. I don't think we need a lot of schlock from China. Why are we building them up? I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with labor unions, but solve the problem of labor unions. Don't just outsource everything we make, either by bringing them here to work cheap or by having it done over there. And the third pillar was no more pointless wars. And I mean, I think I'm in a good position to say this. There was no one more enthusiastic about both the Afghanistan and Iraq war when they began. It was, of course, right after 9/11, and the country didn't just have another 2 million illegals dumped on it. We weren't going through all of this transgender madness. We weren't quite as in hoc to China. So the country itself wasn't in nearly as much trouble. Oh my gosh, the crime right now, think of the crime. The Democratic policy is just release criminals, release criminals. Those are issues that have an effect on Americans. That's making America first, cleaning up that stuff. Waging pointless wars around the world and being the world's policeman. How many times do we have to vote on this? And I mean, Trump was attacked for the things he said in 2016. Remember, he said, you know, Jeb's father lied us into war, and the Wall Street Journal and New York Post assured us that that was going to kill him in South Carolina, biggest military state in the country. And that was in the South Carolina primary, and next day primaries.
When you lose Ann Coulter, that is, you know at that time that stuff has really gotten out of control. And she's right about the no new wars. Yeah, that was one big thing that mostly both sides can agree on, is we don't want wars. We're sick of funding it with our taxes. We're sick of our cities and states looking like dumpster fires while there's a homeless and drug epidemic going on at the exact same time. And instead they're focusing on fighting wars in the Middle East. This is unacceptable. We should not be supporting either side because neither side has their best interests. I think there's a couple. I could say Thomas Massey. I love Thomas Massey and what he's doing. Tucker Carlson, even Cenk Uyghur's coming around, and Anna Kasparian. These are people I would have never listened to on the left, but now guess what? I don't listen to any big media. I listen to independent left and right, and then I come up with my own conclusion, which is exactly what you guys should do too. Because big media is pushing this war like never before because they make millions off it. We have soldiers from America who die fighting these never-ending wars, and these politicians get rich off of these never-ending wars. So I just want to show you Ann Coulter, who is known as a neocon war hawk, is actually against Trump as well. So that's how you know stuff's bad. But we have Tim Dillon and Tucker doing a huge exposure on the CIA today. Tim Dillon saying, then a MAGA. And you know what? It is, because we were lied to. I mean, and at least I'll say it. I was calling the left out when they were lying and saying talking points for Biden, and I'm going to call the right out for the exact same thing. We are being played. It's a uniparty. But let's see what Tim Dillon says. Please like, comment, and hit that subscribe button.
People do not own homes. People still don't have health care. People are in no better position financially than they were, except the top tier. And those are the same people that cheered that on. They're cheering this on. And here's the president now endorsing who I believe and I called this years ago. I said Logan Paul, but it'll be Jake. But I imagine that is what will come next. That is the inevitable next move here, is this.
Got us. Trump's got us. God bless. Love you, Kentucky.
And we also made fun of the Democrats when they brought, Megan Thee Stallion on to twerk on stage to gain votes for Kamala Harris. It just looks just as dumb when you have Jake Paul coming out pushing for Trump, because they know he has an all-time low approval with the younger generation, and they know a lot of the younger generation listens to Jake Paul. It's fake. It doesn't come across as natural. It's all scripted. And we know why.
No, he's a great guy. He's a courageous guy and a talented guy. He's a hell of a fighter, too, by the way. And I just want to say, I'm going to make a prediction.
Look at the people.
that
Can you just pause this for a minute and look at the people that are still in this crowd? Look at the people. And I feel bad for some of them, but
Also, I actually reacted to Newsmax interviewing some of these older people, and it is mostly older people at this rally the other day. This was an anti-Massey rally, and these people had no clue what they were talking about. You could tell they watch Fox News. They're for wars, yet they're worried about where the war's going, but they support the wars. But most of these people are older, retired, have their own home, don't have to worry about normal everyday necessities like we do. It's impossible to live. Right now, it's very impossible to live, and these people are very out of touch.
really don't for others. Look at the people that are left in this crowd. I mean, none of them look happy anymore, by the way. This is the end, because they're all broke, by the way. Their standard of living hasn't gone up, it's declined. None of them understand what the hell's going on. They just know that they're in too deep. They're just in too deep to get out. And that's the face of people that are in too deep. That's not the face of people that are having a great time. That's not the face of people that are really excited about the direction of the country. This is the
And plus, you're in Thomas Massey states. The insults weren't hitting. Like, how are you going to insult Thomas Massey? If you guys have heard of this guy's background story, it is incredible. If you've heard of his voting history, he has like one of the highest voting, like I think it's like independent for conservative voter base, like one of the highest voting records. Not to mention, he's one of the biggest reasons him and Akana, I believe his name is, he's a Democrat, the reason why the Epstein files have been released. He has been the reason for a lot. Also, no Doge cuts in that bill for the SAVE Act, I believe it was. They were still just spending money into oblivion. And Thomas Massey said, okay, since you guys won't remove this wasteful spending, I'm not voting yes for it.
face of people that kind of got bamboozled, and they're still showing up to the rally, and then he's bringing out Jake Paul. And they're going, what's going on? Let's listen to a little bit of this here.
Prediction that you will be, in the not too distant future, running for political office. Okay. And you have my complete and total endorsement. Okay.
So they clap. The people in Kentucky clap in a very defeated way when Trump says about Jake Paul. He goes, you're going to be running for political office. And then some of the people in Kentucky start clapping, and they're happy about that. Let me ask you a question. I like Jake Paul. I have no problem with Jake Paul. Actually, I enjoy him. Why would the people in Kentucky who are clapping for this think Jake Paul would make a good political figure?
Good point.
I'm just asking a very simple question that I'm unsure if I know the answer to. Why do the people in Kentucky think Jake Paul, who, by the way, has left America? Jake Paul, I mean, he lives in Puerto Rico. He's left the continental United States. He lives in a territory of the U.S. to pay no taxes, which, again, God bless. But the people in Kentucky, it's so puzzling me when Trump goes, I want to hear that again. Bring it back again that you're gonna run for political office.
I just want to say, I'm going to make a prediction that you will be, in the not too distant future, running for political office. And you have my complete and total endorsement, okay? No, that's what we want. He's an incredible guy.
It's a mixed reaction. You know, there are people that are clapping for it, and I question their sanity. Again, I don't know why they think he would be a good political figure. I don't know. But this is very interesting because the people behind him now, a lot of them are really not, it's not exciting anymore. It's not fun. This is, you've been at a party too long. You know, I have friends that have been at the party too long here with him. And the thing about Trump's entire thing is the party's never about you. It's his party. And, you know, when you first get there, it's fun. It's like hanging out with a rich kid where in the beginning it's really fun because they're excited to show you everything and let you use some of their toys. But then eventually the rich kid's like, well, this is all mine. So when are your parents picking you up? Like, that's where we're at now in the MAGA cult movement. You still have the 5D chess QAnon people who are permanently schizophrenic. There's nothing to be done for them. You have people like I know.
Yeah, these people that are still like pushing these cute talking points and saying, oh, trust the plan. You are an idiot. We've been hearing this for what, 10 plus years? When does this plan kick into place? When do the arrests happen? When are the Epstein files getting exposed? When are our streets and states going to start looking more presentable? I mean, you say China's the worst, yet they look the best. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it's probably because they spend their own money in their own country to make it look better.
Friends of mine who live in Florida and are just completely out of it and truly are kind of moral. Again, a black hole. They just don't care what he does. They just like him, and they're not paying attention. They're not paying close attention, and and then you have some of these people that are standing here behind him. You can really tell by their face that they have been at the party for too long, and it's not fun. A lot of these people go back and work at a rest stop after this, and I'm not saying anything negative about people that work at a rest stop, but make no mistake, a lot of them will go back and work at a rest stop in Kentucky. It's not a fun job per se, right? So they're here to celebrate him and Jake Paul and all these people, and then they will leave this rally and they will go to their house and they will change into their work clothes and they will work the graveyard shift at a rest stop. And they will tell their friend at the rest stop that they saw Trump. They went to the rally. And their friend will be like, yeah, what'd he say? And they'll be like, yeah, he's not that funny anymore. Like, Jake Paul was there.
I used to think Trump was the funniest person. Like, I used to listen to his rallies, like, all the time, like, every time. Now I can't even stand listening to Trump because I just feel like they're just feeding us bogus lies one after another.
This is what it's becoming. It's becoming people that are just, I don't know. I don't know what any of them are getting out of it. I don't know what any of these people are getting out of it anymore. They elected this guy, and then this guy is basically letting Jared Kushner and Bibi Netanyahu just carve out the Middle East, do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, and I would actually say look into on X. You can find a lot of stories and videos on this. It looks like Jared Kushner may be the next Epstein. That's just what I'm hearing. Now we have Tucker Carlson actually exposing this yesterday. This is crazy, guys. When you discover the CIA has been reading your texts in order to frame you for a crime, you literally have people saying that Tucker Carlson needs to be arrested or to register as a foreign agent. Yet you have people like Laura Loomer who pledged their allegiance to Israel and just hate on Muslims 24/7. Like, it's just insane. And we know that a lot of them politicians are dual citizens, yet nothing happens to them. Or literally saying we're going to pass anti-hate laws for one specific group of people in America when we're supposed to have free speech. It's crazy. We are living in biblical times.
So the other day I found out that the CIA is preparing some kind of criminal referral against me, a crime report to the Department of Justice on the basis of a supposed crime I committed. What's that crime? Well, talking to people in Iran before the war. They read my texts. So the crime under consideration apparently would be the Foreign Agent Act or something like that, acting as an agent of a foreign power. And I don't expect this.
All right, then let's arrest Lindsey Graham, because wasn't he just like almost like prepping Bibi Netanyahu is on record how to come at Trump to agree to continue this war in Iran or continue the bombing? It's literally on record. So if Tucker's going to get arrested, arrest Lindsey Graham, because he's been doing much, much worse forever, yet we'll never see consequences.
To go anywhere. I'm not too worried about an actual criminal case against me for a bunch of reasons. One, I'm not an agent of a foreign power. Unlike a lot of people commenting on U.S. politics and global affairs, I have only one loyalty, and that's the United States, and have never acted against it. Its interests are the only interests I care about because I'm from here and I have a lot of kids. So that's not a concern. I've also never taken money from anybody. don't need it, don't want it. And that's provable.
Love that.
And moreover, it's my job to talk to everybody all the time and try and figure out what's happening around the world. That's literally what I do for a living. And I'm not going to stop doing that, nor should I don't think. I'm also an American. I can talk to anybody. I have no secrets to divulge. So legally, I think the case is ludicrous, and I doubt it'll even become a case. I'm bringing this up for a couple of reasons, though, and they're pretty obvious. One is that countries tend to become more authoritarian in wartime. It's just the nature of war. People are dying. The stakes are high. People's emotions have risen to a very high point, to a crescendo. And so there's much less tolerance for any kind of dissent in the homeland. The irony, of course, is the United States fights wars on behalf of freedom, but there's always less of it here in our country during war. So that's a widely recognized phenomenon, and it's likely to happen now too. Another point to make that is worth knowing is that the USIC, the intelligence agency, spy on Americans. Now, you probably knew that, and it's been revealed a lot, including by Julian Assange and Ed Snowden, both of whom are threatened with death for revealing it, but everyone knows. But it's probably a little more.
Julian Assange is one of the biggest patriots we will ever have in our country's history. He's the one that pretty much helped expose with Liz Crokin the Clinton files and Pizzagate tied up and these wars that are coming up. He predicted all of what is happening now years ago. It's crazy.
Widespread than most people understand. And it's outrageous. There's no justification for your government, which you own, you're a shareholder in it, you pay for it, to be violating your privacy like this. But it happens all the time. And in fact, one of the reasons that CIA or people within CIA, just to be clear, it's a huge, sprawling, disconnected agency. What it does in a specific case doesn't represent what everybody in the building thinks, but there are some people who are mad at me for my views about Israel.
CIA should be dismantled, just completely trashed and threw in the trash and never come back. Our CIA and Mossad, Israel CIA, are the ones to blame for everything.
And they have some latitude. And one of the reasons they pass on criminal complaints, in effect, to law enforcement is to justify warrants for spying on Americans. So that is an absolutely real thing. But the main reason they do it is to leak the existence of the investigation, such as it is, to the media, and then humiliate and terrify the subjects of this op. And that's, of course, happened to me repeatedly.
It's Mockingbird media. CIA is always been involved with media. They give them a script. They tell them what they can and can't say. It is ran by the CIA. Look into Project Mockingbird. It will tell you all you need to know.
Many times, including in famously 2021, when I was still at Fox News and trying to set up an interview with Vladimir Putin. And the NSA, I heard from someone there, had grabbed my text messages with an American citizen and had leaked them to news outlets. Those texts were basically my attempts to set up an interview with the foreign head of state, and they leaked them to the New York Times in order to stop the interview, which they successfully did, by the way. And they admitted that they were spying on me. This is not a fantasy. It actually happened. They did it again 2 years later. My second attempt to get a Putin interview, I managed to get it anyway, and they've done it since. And so when you get a call from a reporter who knows the contents of your texts, it's pretty clear something's going on. None of this, in my judgment, as of right now, is a huge threat to me. So I'm not making this video to complain about it or whine or ask you to send me money because I'm under attack. I'm saying it because it's true, and you should know what your own government is doing, and you should know what the stakes are. And you should know that a lot of what happens in this country that affects outcomes happens behind the scenes. Some of it is legal, some of it is not, including what I'm describing now. But it has an effect. And the intel agencies, again, not everyone in the intel agencies, because there are decent, hardworking Americans who work in the intel agencies are Americans, just like there are decent, hardworking Americans who work at the DMV. But there are also people with agendas and grudges and no sense of restraint who are happy to misuse the power they have, granted them by our elaborate secrecy laws, to hurt fellow Americans for ideological reasons. That is entirely real. That's the story of Russiagate. And it's likely that things like that will begin to happen at greater scale now. So you should just know that going forward. Thanks.
That's insane. And that's also unacceptable that they are allowing this to happen to an American journalist just because he is exposing the truth about what is really happening behind the strings. As we know, the puppeteer masters are the Rothschilds, Pizzagate, Epstein, all involved. Now we have a former CIA analyst talking about he's concerned about Tucker's safety. Let's see what he has to say.
Turning to Tucker Carlson, you were on Tucker Carlson just a few days ago, Clayton. I've been on a couple of times. I think I'm going to go back on in the next 4 or 5 weeks. I like Tucker very much.
Most
I consider
people
him
do.
to be a friend. And I have to tell you, I'm genuinely worried for his safety. Tucker is one of those rare truth tellers. He speaks whatever happens to be on his mind, but it's always very well thought out. He's not afraid to call important people on the carpet for things that they've said or done. In the current political climate, in the let's call it the post-Charlie Kirk era, do you think Tucker Carlson has reason to be worried?
Oh yeah, just with what happened to Charlie Kirk.
I think he wouldn't admit that. He never likes to have the focus be on him at all.
That's right.
I've known him for years, and he's never like me, like
Never.
navel gazing. He hates that. He hates that with a passion,
Like Ben Shapiro.
Oh, I need a large security contingent because I'm so important. Like, he's not that kind of person at all. But look, the SBU tried to kill him, almost blew up his car when he went to Moscow. Like there's some realities here. You have these nut job, MAGA influencers, these sort of pro-Israel Zionists who are basically actively calling for him to be arrested, attacked. And they have platforms. I mean, they're literally not thrown off of X. They're calling for like the arrest and hurting of his family, and they're still somehow on X, and they still have jobs at like Fox News somehow. Like, when I worked at Fox News, if I would have called for like the death of a human being, like I would have been fired. But this is a new era, so you can call for, attacks on certain people like that.
He's talking about Mark Levin. Mark Levin is the biggest weasel on Fox News, and that's saying a lot because there's a bunch of weasels. But it's unacceptable that they let these people talk and treat Tucker Carlson like this. And I have a part 2 of the same show from, I believe, yesterday, Tim Dillon. Let's see what he had to say.
When I look at the rise of identity politics and how troubling that is, the only course of action that I could think of would be a world war that would eliminate half the population in a period of 24 months.
So I wanted you guys to hear. That's exactly what the plan is, to depopulate us by mass amounts of numbers. And unfortunately, this administration is a part of the plan. Let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys have a blessed night with you and your loved ones. Talk to you soon.